Okay, it's 5 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and call to order the work session for the East Grand Forks City Council for July 28th, 2026. Would the city clerk please call roll?
Mayor Mark Olson.
Here.
Council President Brian Larson.
Here.
Council Vice President Tim Riefel.
Here.
Council Members Tammy Schumacher.
Here.
Ben Pukshinsky.
Here.
Dale Helms. Don Kreisme.
Here.
Karen Peterson.
Okay, we have a quorum. Let's kind of dive into the agenda here. Item number 1 is authorization to prepare plans and specifications for 2027 City Project Number 1, Street and ADA Improvements, Demers and Central Avenue. Mr. Emery.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, Mayor, Council. So in 2023, as part of the city's federal project, we had completed some street and ADA improvements along the Demers Avenue, Central Avenue corridor from 4th Street to Highway 2. Due to budget constraints at that time, we were we had limited our work to kind of prioritize areas that the council even prioritized, kind of just based on need at that time. Since then, we found out that that corridor, or this corridor, is on the national highway system. And there was some federal funding through the National Highway Performance Program, so we did apply for funding through that program, and we were awarded a grant up to $1,040,000, which was essentially based on about a $1.3 million project, which was, I guess, good news. So. With the federal funding, there is a requirement for completion of a project memorandum, which does include some environmental permitting, that type of stuff. So, which we need to get started on kind of soon as possible here, because we do need to submit the project memorandum. Needs to be submitted to the district by December 1st of this year. So at this time, we would be just kind of looking for the council to get authorization kind of to proceed, I said, with the preparation of project memorandum, plans and specifications, and then essentially construction services, which of course would be contingent on a, project award or whatever. So I kind of gave you on the second page, just kind of gave you an estimated breakdown of costs. Again, the $1,040,000 that we initially applied for was based on about $1.3 million in total construction. And again, we're going to have to kind of revisit the corridor just to make sure that there's not more that's came up over the last couple of years. But these maps were kind of generated from what we knew back in 2023. So kind of just gave you kind of an estimated breakdown for construction, the PM, plans and specs, construction if that moves forward. So again, you can kind of see, kind of threw in the $1,040,000 in grant funding. That is 80-20 split. The city's 20% share, we should be able to pull that right out of our state aid construction fund. So that kind of would be the, kind of the two funding sources for the project. So again, I guess with that, we could kind of open up any questions you may have.
All right, thank you, Mr. Emery. Any questions for Steve or Reid? Go ahead, Ben.
Thank you. Is this a project for 2027 or?
It would be 2027, yep.
2027?
Yep.
Okay. That's all I got. Thanks.
Thank you. Mayor Olstead?
Are you working with Water and Light? Do they have to do anything to coincide with this?
I think all the utilities and stuff through that
before, right?
corridor for the most part have been taken care of. I know the water mains, new sanitary sewer we may just have to look at, but I think for the most part, I think a lot of those utilities through that corridor were replaced after the flood. So.
Okay, thanks.
Great. That's a pretty exciting opportunity to have a $1.4 million improvement in street and sidewalk, and none of it is coming from local or property tax
Right.
funds.
Yep.
It's federal and then state. So that's,
Yep.
I think that's a really exciting opportunity.
Right. So.
Great. Okay, and then maybe Steve, if you'll just go through the visuals. It's always nice to kind of understand the engineer's thoughts on the scope of the work here.
Yep. So yeah, we would be, overall looking at replacing pretty much all the sidewalk, kind of like we did in front of City Hall back in 2023. We, got rid of basically the brick pavers, which over the years have settled, have become a kind of a maintenance item for the city. So, we'd be looking at pretty much, that you can see in red there, that would be all sidewalk removal, replacement. All the curb ramps at the street intersections, those are done in 2023, so we shouldn't have to, those should still be good. So just trying to, I guess, take care of, the rest of the sidewalk work. And then, again, concrete panel replacement, kind of like we did last time. And again, we're going to have to kind of do a walkthrough just to make sure that, we don't have any more or less, of course. But, just kind of the general scope of work. The other thing we've talked about, I guess, is we kind of got the old Burger King entrance there, and it's not really shown on this map. It's something Jason and I started talking about last Friday, I think, but really may not be a need for that access point anymore, so we may eliminate that and then just kind of even clean up some of that sidewalk work right there. So I think, if there's any other, I guess, improvements that, the city would like to see too, let me know. I think we got plenty of funding, so if there's things you want to see, let me know and we can get them included.
Yeah, just a small item, Steve. If we had an allowance in there for, not landscaping per se, that's maintenance heavy, but just new trees, try to bring in some fresh new trees as a kind of brighten up this really nice corridor all the way through here.
And I think that's something we're going to want to discuss maybe with council and staff. I know over the years, a lot of times trees in the berm like that right along the back of curb have been tough to keep them alive due to salt and everything else. So I think that's a discussion we should have. Do we want to put new trees back in? Do we want to eliminate them totally? Because some of those trees have really got overgrown too and are almost impeding pedestrian traffic. So I think that is something I would want your input on, what you would really like to see along that corridor.
Yeah, we have so many ash trees in town, and I just think that they're going to die at some point with emerald ash borer. So wherever we can get ahead of it on a project and replace them with a, common sense variety that'll make it through our winters, it's a nice opportunity.
Yep. So.
All right. Any other questions for Mr. Emery?
Yeah, I got another one, Brian.
Yeah, go ahead, Ben.
Thank you. If, Reid, can you scroll up to the Burger King one? If we're eliminating that Burger King spot, do we want to consider putting in a turning lane right there instead where that sidewalk is to get better access to both the Holiday gas station and the old Burger King building?
You're talking a right turn lane?
Yeah,
there?
right turn lane, yeah,
Yep.
right there. I don't know how anybody else feels about that, but if we're eliminating that basic entrance into the Burger King parking lot, I think we'd see a lot more cars making a right-hand turn there. And I think we have like a lane and a half there as it is.
Yeah, I would say we do, because I know once you get north of 10th Street there, you can kind of see it even widens out more. So we.
Okay. With the turn lane. Okay.
We definitely look at that.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to item number 2, special event application for the Nick Minske Memorial Run. Mr. Huttunen and Ms. Olson.
Okay, thank you, council members and mayor. I'll start introducing the item and with some of the information we've gathered since last week's meeting. And I know Kathleen and Mr. Johnson are here as well if they have any comments on the event that they're planning. So at the council meeting last week, it was asked that we look at the consideration of closing 4th Street for the proposed concert to be in the street. And I did include in the RCA kind of maybe some of the impacts that could be created by closing the street, and specifically as it pertains to the temporary liquor license. This portion of 4th Street that they're asking for it to be closed is under MnDOT control or jurisdiction. So there's an application process that the event holder and the city kind of work jointly on submitting to MnDOT for their consideration. And when we receive the application, MnDOT needs at least 30 days notice on that. So in receiving the application, we started that process to submit the paperwork to MnDOT, and they have approved the street closure for that location. Certainly the city needs to sign off on the event as well, but just for what it's worth, that MnDOT has approved that closure, and they did that on July 16th. The temporary liquor license requested for the beer and wine that would be sold at the event is, as it relates to the street closure, tied to being adjacent or adjoining to Up North Pizza as the off-sale holder. And in order for the event to be licensed in its current format, for the liquor to be licensed in its current format, it essentially needs to be in that location. It has to have that adjoining access to the currently licensed premises of Up North Pizza. If we would be inclined to want to see the street concert held in a separate location that was not adjacent or adjoining to Up North Pizza, it's still possible, but it does require a different licensing procedure through the state's liquor licensing office. There'd be a couple options in order to do that. One, the event organizers would need to find a nonprofit organization to partner with, and they could still use Up North Pizza to do the service for them, but it needs to be licensed through a nonprofit. As of today, because the request is for the street closure portion, they have not pursued a nonprofit to be able to acquire that license, or the second option under that moving the street dance location would be for a caterer to host the liquor license side of things. And in that situation, they're doing it under a catering license, and then typically would be expected to have food available for catering at the event. Up North Pizza, as I understand it, is not currently licensed to be a caterer, and I'm not certain if that was the avenue that was desired. I don't know what the timeline is in order to be able to be licensed to cater. So knowing the event is coming up on August 15th, we've got some pretty quick decisions to make on that front. We did at staff level talk with interim fire chief Paul Hansen and police chief Hedlund about kind of safety and concerns for the street closure, and certainly speak, gentlemen, if there's anything you're interested in. But at the staff meeting yesterday, there weren't any high level concerns that they had. We've closed this section of street a number of times over the years for concerts or events similar to this, probably even for much larger crowds than what we'd expect at an event like this. Generally on a early evening in the middle of a Saturday in August, we wouldn't expect a high saturation of traffic in that area that would cause a lot of impacts. So no real immediate concerns to the location or the closure for that time period there. And then when we move past kind of that first discussion about location and impacts of liquor licensing, then the second part would be talking about the costs associated with the event. Those are included in the request for council action. $343.90 for kind of the public works materials to be able to have the road closures and blockages in place. The bandwagon from Parks and Recreation is $250. That's our set daily rental fee. And then to have one officer, as Chief Hedlund has suggested we should for an event like this, estimating $300 for that cost. And past practice there has kind of been a little bit of a moving target. If you go back through the last 10 years of history, we used to charge $50 for a special event regardless of what they needed from the city. We went away from that policy and started charging it more specific based on the actual cost of the city into a special event. We've been doing that for the last 4 or 5 years. And then with that started having a little bit more willingness to consider either reducing the cost and kind of providing some in-kind service by the city, or in some cases waiving the costs altogether if it was for a non-revenue generating or a non-profit type of event. City Attorney Gallstead couldn't be here tonight, but said, certainly we received that message from him last week about the public purpose doctrine in the state of Minnesota and whether or not this event would meet that public purpose, and that it may not be an eligible event for the city to donate its services to. So I hope I covered all the bases there and open for any questions.
Okay, thanks, Reid. Chief Hedlund, anything else to add?
I was just going to point out that morning we have the Shriners Parade, so Public Works will have already had to stage both detour signs and barricades in that general area. So it will be, I'd work with Jason to figure out whether it was going to be his staff or our staff, but essentially after the parade, those barricades and detour signs will have to be pulled off, but they won't have to be re-brought out. They're still going to be in the area. They'll be maneuvered around a little bit, but it's a relatively minor detail to put them back out to block off the street in that area.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Any questions or comments? Okay. I guess I would say I'm in favor of option one, keeping it in its current planned place. I think that makes sense. A lot of planning effort has gone into this event. And then kind of going back to Attorney Gallstead's comments last week about the public doctrine?
Public purpose doctrine.
Yeah, we shouldn't get crosswise there. It's unfortunate that, the fees charged against this event, I assume, and please let us know, it'll mean that there'll be less money going to charity at the end of it. And that's unfortunate, but hopefully there's a big crowd there and a lot of money is raised and all's fair. If you have anything to add, please come forward if you would like. Okay. Okay. Any other questions or comments? All right. I think we're good. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to item number 3 then. Request approval for special event application for Unique Dreams Décor. This will be a craft show on September 19th. I want to make sure that's clear. That's a Saturday, 2026 from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. We'll start with Ms. Olson.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. So we have in front of us the Unique Dreams is looking to do a craft show, and if we can bring the map up on the screen. Micah's looking to have on the 3rd Street there, you'll see the facility is on the front side on Demers, and along the sidewalk on 3rd Street, she would like to set up about 20 craft vendors. So they would be set up from all along that edge there. The idea then would be to put up a barricade, we'll call it, just across the parking slots there, the diagonal parking on 3rd Street, to allow for pedestrians to walk along the craft vendors. Across the back side there, you'll see there is a red area marked there. That would be where the food vendors, food trucks would then set up for this event. The event is scheduled with me from 8 to 5. The idea is the vendors themselves will be 10 to, is it 3? 10 o'clock to 3. So I know we've also brought this to department heads and asked if there was any thoughts as far as any issues with potentially blocking those diagonal and having through traffic there with pedestrians also walking through those parking areas. I didn't receive any feedback at this time. And they are here if you have any questions regarding this event.
Okay, great. Mayor? I have one question. Have they spoken to the River Cinema people? Because some of the property is owned by River Cinema and the other portion, that parking lot is owned by the city.
Yep, I apologize. Yes, they have gotten permission for that back parking or that parking area. Yes.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Or-
Are you going to talk about?
Yeah, I will.
Go ahead, Reid.
You want to go
I've
first?
just got a quick question. So, between River Cinema and where the food is, are we blocking it off right there?
Yeah,
Like, will cars be able to drive through there, or is that going to be completely blocked off?
that would need to be blocked off.
Okay.
If it's going to show this way.
And then are we
Yeah.
blocking it on the other side? Because I don't see a red line there.
Yeah, the red lines are poor representation. Those are measurements to see how many feet it is.
Okay.
They weren't necessarily meant to show blockages in the traffic
I
pattern.
would almost say we just block the whole street off to give more room,
Yeah.
like
So,
on both ends, because
Right.
just that's not a lot of space, and I don't think that's a high traffic road. So I think just to have a better experience for everybody involved, and probably safer, we just block the whole darn street off. Would be my wish for this one. So I think it's a great idea, and as long as Penny's good with it, we're good. I know she does have a garage on the side of the building that gets used, so I don't know. Are you Micah?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe just have a conversation with her, make sure she knows that, you know, you probably don't want the garbage cans rolling out through that door that day. So, thank you.
Go ahead, Reid.
yeah, thank you, Council President Larson and Mr. Pakshavinsky. That was the comment that I neglected to share with Renee today from our staff meeting yesterday. Was those in the meeting felt like 3rd Street being closed would be the better approach to this. And maybe we don't even need to use the section of the parking lot that we had labeled for food. It could all just fit in that 3rd Street section. So I apologize, Renee.
Forgiven.
Okay.
Is it the 18th or the 19th?
It's the 19th.
The 19th, yes.
It'd be the Saturday, the 19th, yep.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Ms. Kaiser, anything else to add?
No.
Okay.
Would we need to provide our own barriers for the street, or is that just going to be?
Go ahead, Reid.
Yes, we would be able to provide those. I think now, knowing the plan would be to close 3rd Street, what we'll do is we'll have staff put together a summary of all the equipment needed, and then there may be some cost with that. Just like the last conversation, there'll be some cost with the street closures, but those are fairly minimal when it comes down to it. So we'll communicate that with you.
Without alcohol here, I assume there wouldn't be a police officer assigned to it? Pretty, okay. Unless it's kind of a wild craft fair. I don't know who you bring. Might be fun, but we'll see. Sure. Hey, I'm just here for the party, guys. So. Okay, all right. Any final questions? I see none. Okay, all right. Thanks, everyone. Let's continue down the agenda here. Item number 4 is street repair on 812 James Avenue. Mr. Stordahl.
Thank you, Mr. President, Council. There's an area along James Avenue where there's a bunch of bust-up street panels. And they're associated a little bit of curb and gutter as well. I got 2 different quotes one from Op Construction, one from H&S Construction. Both are fully capable of doing the project. Op Construction was the low on that, so I'm recommending that we go with Op Construction for the repair, and we do have funding available in our street reconstruction budget.
Thank you. Any questions for Jason? Okay, pretty clear. And then let's move on to item number 5 then. Concrete street panel replacement project at 1723 21st Street Northwest.
Thank you, Mr. President. This one was, we tore up some of the street there, some of the street panels and curb and gutter to do a stormwater project. We had some broken pipes, discovered some more broken storm pipes as we got into it, some catch basin issues. That was all dealt with last year. We let the area go through a freeze-thaw cycle and just want to put the concrete back in there. I had the same 2 contractors give quotes for the project, and this time H&S Construction came in as the low, and that's my recommendation to go with them for the project, as the other project funds are available through our street reconstruction dollars.
Right, thank you. Any questions for Jason on the 21st Street concrete panel replacement? Okay. Okay, that sounds good. Then we'll move on to item number 6 then. Appointment of Mr. Jaden Hagel to the position of Public Works Equipment Operator.
Thank you, Mr. President and Council. So Mr. Jaden Hagel's been with the Public Works Department for a few years now. He started as a seasonal mower, got hired on as a truck driver. He's been doing an outstanding job. He's actually ran a lot of the equipment already, payloaders, street sweepers, and stuff like that in the wintertime, and obviously the street sweepers in the summer. He's a very highly qualified candidate, and we're looking to asking for council approval to hire Jaden as an equipment operator, grade 11, step 2. It's also a budgeted position within this year's budget.
Great, thanks, Jason. Any questions on the request to hire Mr. Hagel? Okay, I see none. All right, and looks like one more for you, Jason. Request to advertise to hire a truck driver.
Thank you. So this is a little bit similar to the last time I came before you, hiring. It's kind of a domino effect. If council approves the appointment of Jaden Hagel for equipment operator, that'll leave a vacancy for a truck driver, which we would want to fill. We'd advertise internally for the first 5 days, and then it would go external if there are no candidates.
Great. Any questions for Jason on the request to hire a truck driver? Okay. I see none. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's go to item number 8 then. Fire Department Mutual Aid Agreement Renewal with Warren, Minnesota and Alvarado, Minnesota. Mr. Hanson, Interim Fire Chief.
Thank you, Mr. President, Council, Mayor. It was discovered here recently that our contract with Warren and Alvarado expired. I was under the understanding they were 10-year agreements. Those two happen to be 5-year agreements. So looking to get those renewed for 5-year agreement. Then our Polk County and Warren and Alvarado agreements would all be on the same cycle. So as far as budget impact, we're just going to be responsible for wages and fuel when we are requested from those agencies. So looking for authorization to have it signed. Mr. Gallstead has looked at it. He recommended that the fire chief, city administrator, and mayor all sign the contract. So that would be the recommendation, is to sign with Warren and Alvarado.
Sounds good. Okay. Any questions for Paul? Okay, I think we're good.
Thank you.
Item number 9. Approve proposed 2026-2027 winter activity fees as displayed on the attached fee schedule. Mr. Huttunen.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. Council members, the winter activity registration is set to open within the next couple of weeks, and we've reviewed the proposed fees and how it relates to our planned revenue for 2026, and are proposing a slight fee increase to the figure skating side of the activities, as well as the hockey. There is a minor kind of change to our programming in hockey that we're proposing. Historically, we have offered a preseason hockey clinic that has happened over the first couple of weeks of October, prior to our regular season and our tryout process for those teams that have tryouts starting. I would say over the last 5+ years, since the Blue Line Club has started renting fall ice from us and started offering their own hockey clinic, our numbers on our clinic have started to decrease. We kind of have 2 clinics stacked right one on top of each other. And so looking at that and our participation in it, we're proposing going away from our clinic and kind of rolling some of the fees that we've typically charged to clinic into our regular season fee structure, and then offering those dates that would have typically been a clinic date as a preseason skills session. So the ice time will still be made available to the kids in a similar fashion, just it'll be part of the regular season fee structure. And then the other kind of minor change to that with that schedule is historically when we had clinic, The last 2 days of clinic were on the same days as MEA weekend, and a lot of kids were gone, either youth hunting or out of town with family, and people were paying for them through the hockey fee, the clinic fee, but largely was unattended. We've kind of structured the preseason skills clinics now to be done before MEA weekend, and then MEA weekend will largely be a weekend off, and maybe a few open hockeys or open skatings in the rink instead of organized practices. So those are kind of the two modifications. The fee structure, to show you what the fees are proposed to be for 2026, is included in the council packet. We did also complete kind of a summary of what the fees look like in some of the other communities around us, specifically for hockey. We didn't run that same comparison for synchronized skating or skating lessons. That's become a really unique program for us in East Grand Forks. There aren't a lot of neighboring communities that offer it the same way as we do, so there isn't a great comparable. But we do feel comfortable that that fee is appropriate for the number of ice times that those kids get. So, and I should close with this, the Park and Rec Commission reviewed these at their meeting last Wednesday and recommended approval.
They did. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Thanks, Reid. Okay, turn it over for comments from the council. Okay, I think it's pretty clear cut then. Reid, I noticed on the comparison sheet Grand Forks isn't in there. Do you know where Grand Forks sits when you compare us, like for a bantam or a peewee, or is that not a direct comparison?
No, it would be a good comparison. Their fees are incredibly hard to find just out on the open public.
Oh, sure.
I think we reached out and just hadn't received an answer by the time we put this together for the Park and Rec Commission. If there's more interest in that, I'm sure we can continue to pursue them. Generally, they're going to be more expensive than we are. Okay. They're probably, if they're not the highest on this list, they're going to be near the highest on this list.
I don't think it's terribly relevant, so. Okay.
Thank you.
Appreciate the work that went into this. This is kind of helpful. All right, let's move on then. Item number 10, request to approve change order for VFW Arena water main replacement.
Okay, thank you again, council members, mayor. As part of our arena project, Widseth has been handling the civil design on the parking lot reconstruction at the VFW, and in preparing those plans, caught notice that the water main that runs kind of along and underneath where the new parking lot will be installed was installed in the 1970s. I put in the packet, it was a cast iron, it was actually concrete asbestos pipe. And so they proposed to Water and Light that now would be the time to replace that line, being that it's aged nearly, if not over 50 years old already. Water and Light did review and approve that. To expedite the timing of it, we already had contractors through our pre-bid work on this arena project awarded for similar utility install and earthwork. So we bid the project through, I'm sorry, I'm fumbling. We bid the water main work through our project to those contractors that were already awarded. And in June, Water and Light awarded the project to those contractors. They have already started the work. The motion or the action in front of you tonight is it will look like a change order in our contract with construction engineers for construction management on the project at the price that Water and Light agreed upon. And because Water and Light is fully funding this portion of the project, in the change order, it will increase the guaranteed maximum price at the VFW Arena project by the amount of the water main replacement. So it got missed putting in the agreement or in the packet. There's another form that was secure encrypted, so Renee couldn't get it to fit in. But there's a contract amendment form that we'll get it in the council packet for next week that shows the signature line for approval of the guaranteed maximum price addition.
Thanks, Reid. So there's no additional bonding dollars going into this. This is Water and Light's the funding source. It's being done with the project.
Correct.
Makes sense.
Yeah. No increase to what's authorized for bonding or the sales tax proceeds. It is just an add-on, and Water and Light will be paying for that in full.
Great. Okay. Go ahead, Tim.
Water and Light had no idea of the nature of the piping down there until they actually started doing part of the project. Then they spotted it.
Makes sense. Do it now. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, I see none. We'll move on to item number 11 then. This is the request to dedicate sales of the renewable energy credits to an economic development infrastructure fund. Mr. Huttunen.
Okay, thank you again. If you all recall, in June, the City Council approved the sales agreement to Minnesota Municipal Power for the sale of renewable energy credits, or RECs, as we've been calling them. In that discussion, we talked about creating a economic development infrastructure fund to place the proceeds of those sales over the 15-year term of that sales contract, with the intention that the dollars would be made available for use for economic development improvements, whether that be property acquisition, street improvements, utility improvements, whether that be stormwater, wastewater, and so forth. And so we have drafted a resolution that's included in the packet for your review tonight. Just would be looking for any direction on the resolution and the scope of how these funds would be eligible for use going forward.
Thanks, Reid. Any comments? We'll start with Mr. Riopel.
Just for clarification, the fund is not the EDA's fund, it would be the city's fund. We just named it that.
Correct. Yeah, it would be a city fund with this name. The city would have full control over those funds.
Thank you.
Great. Mayor Olstead?
Question, Reid, and maybe this isn't the right place for it in this document, but would environmental issues or cleanup be something that should be put in there? If we're maybe extending or changing something out?
Yeah.
Just a thought.
I think that's a good thought. Now would be the time to list it. If we want to consider that as eligible, I would probably list it under the now therefore section.
I mean, Mr. Okay, talk today. Well, do we have any issues anywhere if we started going through this and, like, let's say the Crystal Sugar line that runs through that property? Would that be one issue, Steve, that we'd have, maybe moving it, or if there's something wrong with it, if there's environmental issues there? And or would we want to, in here, also say moving of utilities, like with that line, if possible? I'm sure it's going to cost a lot more money than 1 year of this, so that's, but yeah, it's just a thought. I mean, have you gotten any projects that you've ever worked on that we've had our environmental issues on?
Any environmental concerns with moving that?
Anything we have to fix then, or, if it's something like that.
Yeah.
Contaminated soils, things
Right.
like that.
Anything.
Yeah.
But, I mean, do we put environmental issues in there, clean up, or, and then we have moving of any utilities listed? Is it catch-all?
Yeah. Yeah. That's, I noted just adding another sub-bullet under number 2 on, now therefore be it resolved, environmental cleanup, contaminated soil remediation. And then if we added relocation, basically behind each of those bullets, street improvements, construction or relocation, stormwater improvements, replacements, relocation, so forth. Yeah. The, Mayor, the part about the line going through the Simplot property, it's a privately owned line. I think there's good public purpose in relocating it because it could be right now a hindrance to development of the property.
Right.
We may want to be specific somehow to call that out, that it can be used for private utility relocation if it's a hindrance to viable development of the property or something along those lines.
And I didn't mean to call that project out. It was just an example, but
it's a good example.
So
yeah,
I mean, it's probably a good thing to do. I mean,
Reid, in the future, if there's a future council that wants to add items under 3, is it just done by a simple majority? We're not writing something into like a super majority or a public vote or anything like that, are we?
I will verify that with the city attorney, but my impression of it is it's a simple majority. It'd be a new resolution kind of riding over top of this one to say that it takes effect and amends this noted resolution.
Okay. Because I think we should be careful not to tie the hands of a future council by being so prescriptive.
Yeah.
But there's probably a downside in adding like a catch-all, like other economic development investments as the council sees appropriate. It's like, well, that could be anything. You know, we have a good purpose here, I think.
Yeah.
But it's good to know that future versions of this room can amend that as they see fit without jumping through a lot of hoops. Okay.
And I think that was the thought at a staff level with maybe writing it as prescriptive as it is that it, to me, this gives our staff a very clear direction of what an eligible use of the fund is and future councils, right? And in 20 years, when we're looking back at meeting minutes, trying to decipher what did the city council mean when they put this resolution in place, I hope this tells that story.
Yep, I think it will.
Got a question, Brian.
Yeah, go ahead, Ben.
This one would be for Carla.
Yes.
For these accounts, I know some of our accounts go into the red for a little bit, like we may borrow against that account. Do we have to state that now that this account, like we could say to the mayor's point where there's this utility that's a private entity that we want to move, but say it costs $1 million, but this account only gets $200,000 every year. Can we borrow against that, you know, say $1 million and then pay it back?
So it's going to be considered a special revenue fund, like our Greenway maintenance. And there has been times when the Greenway maintenance where our improvements were, say, $20,000 more than what we had in the fund, but we knew that was coming throughout the year. And when we do our financial statement, all the auditors do on the financial statement is saying that there's basically a loan from the general fund to cover that until it gets to there.
Okay.
So we account for that in our financial statement.
Okay.
Which is legal and okay.
Yep. It's nothing
No,
that
it's
has
a
to
good
be like
question.
stated ahead of time.
Yeah, good
Okay.
question.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Any further questions? All right, I see none. Let's get to item number 12, then, our last item here. Amended ordinance number 51 to amend Chapter 90, the Greenway. Mr. Huttunen.
Okay, thank you again. And Mr. Gallstead did a lot of the legwork on this, so thanks to him. And unfortunately, he couldn't attend tonight. He is available this week and will be in attendance next week if there's any questions that need his attention. He did make the amendments to the Greenway ordinance as we've discussed at a few of the previous meetings. Largely, it's just updating the definitions of an electric assist or pedal assist bicycle to match what is currently in Minnesota State Statute. So our current ordinance says that their maximum power on the electric motor is limited to 1,000 watts or less. The current Minnesota statute says 750 watts or less, so that will be what is in the new updated ordinance. And then he added or clarified the definitions of a Class 1, Class 2, and Class 3 electric assisted bicycle to match what's in Minnesota State Statute. The one item that is still a little out there pending that I'm waiting on a for sure final answer back from the Minnesota DNR on is we currently have an ordinance in place, and it speaks to that in this Greenway ordinance as well, that makes e-scooters legal for use on our Greenway trails. Minnesota DNR has a law that says electric scooters are prohibited on their state trail systems. Of course, there's a little conflict there in that we have our Greenway trail running through the state-owned park property. So far, I haven't received an 100% official final answer, but so far the answer that the DNR prefers is that they will somehow designate that the trail that runs through their park system remains a city trail, and our ordinance as it's written will apply regardless of whose property it is, city or state. So that that needs to still be finalized and cleaned up before next week's meeting, but that's the early indication I have from DNR staff.
Okay, thanks, Reid. Any questions for Reid on this topic? Okay, I see none. That brings us to the end of our agenda. Be looking for a motion to adjourn. Moved by Riepel. Second by Pukshavinsky. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Meeting is closed. Thank you, everyone.